Alrighty guys, so today I want to talk about Australia's amazing fast high rail speed system. I mean, just take a look at that picture. That's actually the wrong one, hang on. That's the one. That's our amazing fast high speed rail that we have here in the the Sydney, New South Wales area at least. It was a false statement, kind of true, kind of false all at the same time. To be fair, I absolutely love this train. This is a Sydney VSET. I've been on it 1,000 times. But yes, no, Australia does not have a high-speed rail system. Kind of does, and I'll get into that in a second, but no, we really don't, okay? But if the rumours are to be true, the New South Wales government matches the Commonwealth's $500 million pledge for fast rail link construction. I mean, this sounds like something out of the Johnny Depp trial. Amber, did you give that money to charity? I pledged it. No, Amber, you did. I fucked the joke up, but you know what I'm trying to say, all right? She's pledged it. Basically, she hasn't given the money, okay? That's the premise of the situation. Will the New South Wales government go ahead with the pledge, or will it be just like Amber Heard? I don't know, but California's ambitious high-speed rail at Crossroads. I mean, California is known for their cars, and the whole of America is known for the love of cars, right? But yeah, California have had a lot of problems getting their high-speed rail system up and running. I mean, they've still not even laid a piece of track at the moment, as far as I'm aware. It's taking them billions and billions of dollars more than they thought it would be. Of course, much more time as well. It's a terrible situation. But I just wanted to quickly say, going back to what I said before, Australia apparently does have a singular high-speed rail, if you could call it that, but there is this here in Brisbane. It is a tilt train. I've never personally been on it myself, but it's an interesting thing. I would like to go on it myself someday. But I want to talk about the New South Wales government's plan to actually build this high-speed rail. I mean, look, if you're from Australia, you know what I'm about to say, right? This has been talked about 1,000 times. All right, probably, you know, a handful of times over a number of years, right? This has been over 15, 20, 30 years. This has been talked about. The government has talked about this for a long, long time, and nothing has ever eventuated. You get what I'm trying to say? Nothing's ever materialized with the situation, but the difference they say now is that they actually are going to pledge 500 million. Once again, right? This is a New South Wales VSET, very beautiful train, but of course they are replacing this VSET very soon. At who knows when? Okay, long story short, they're not allowing it to run on the tracks. But this is a picture of the Sydney train network and the Intercity train network of the Sydney area, the Sydney surrounding areas, right? So basically the plan is to basically get a train eventually from Newcastle Interchange, all right, all the way up there. It should hang on. We should be getting a fast train here from here. But, yeah, there we go. They stopped that. They put a tram line there instead. Anyway, not talking about that. Newcastle Interchange going all the way down at someday, right? I'm assuming to Central, but it could also be going to Parramatta as opposed to Central, because maybe Central's overcrowded with trains and buildings, and how will they ever get the train there? I don't know. So they could be doing a high-speed train from Newcastle to Parramatta or Sydney, and then someday down to, where's Wollongong? I can't even find it. There we go. Wollongong is just right there, right? Interesting proposal. Look, as you guys can see, there is a lot of track there already, and a lot of that track, especially in those areas right there, just zigzags around mountains and stuff like that. And there's a lot of zigzagging going on right there. Beautiful scenery. In fact, this station pretty much is the only station that has no car access, no road access at all. It's basically a station to the water. Beautiful scenery. But, I mean, you wouldn't be able to utilize any of that track in those areas. You'd have to build a straightish line through the mountains, or I'm assuming underneath the earth. If you've ever been on these train trips from Central to Newcastle, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's about a 3-hour trip. Pretty sure. I mean, my grandparents used to live in Newcastle. Me and my mum used to go visit them almost every month, maybe a couple of times a month sometimes. So I've taken that trip many times in the past. It'll be interesting if they ever do build it, right? Now, I wanted to also just quickly talk about this as well, because this is, I'm going to quickly zoom out and then zoom in and push this over here so you guys can see my face and this as well. But this is the inland rail alignment. They're basically building an inland rail situation that's never existed before like this, right? For cargo trains, pretty much. Not really passenger trains, I don't believe. I don't know too much about the situation, but this is their plan, right? They want to build a path from Brisbane all the way down to Parkes, Albury, and then of course to Melbourne. Now this would bypass Sydney completely. Now the only new track that I'm seeing would be the yellow track right here, which is the inland rail new track. The yellow with the double whatever you want to call them, the dots, right? This would be dual gauge new track. Inland rail, existing track to be upgraded. Green is inland rail enhancement works for clearances. Existing rail, ARTC rail network. So look, there you go. Now you have a better understanding what's going on. The yellow is really the big work, right? That's where they're basically joining existing tracks and making one really long track between Brisbane and Melbourne. So, I mean, the plan someday would be to get a fast train all the way from Brisbane to Melbourne, and maybe even Adelaide. All right. So I want to talk about this. So I'll quickly ask my iPhone right now how long it takes from Brisbane to Melbourne on the road, okay? Brisbane to Melbourne distance.
Melbourne is about 1,779 kilometers from Brisbane by car.
So by car, 1,779 kilometers Brisbane to Melbourne. I mean, that's a long fucking distance. And that's pretty much a good indication as to why Australia has never really seen a fast rail situation until now. They're still probably not going to build it. But hey, I mean, they're thinking about it, right? It's a long bloody way. Now, look, in places like England, for example, they have many different cities joined together quite closely on quite a small country overall, right? I mean, you could fit England in New South Wales alone multiple times, right? So their justification, just in the UK alone, is pretty obvious, right? Now, my situation would be, well, if we are going to be building very fast rail in Australia, that will be, connecting multiple cities. Once again, Brisbane, the Gold Coast as well. Okay, Sydney via Newcastle, going to Canberra, which is Australia's capital, right? That's where the Prime Minister does his, Prime Minister things over there. Okay, down to Melbourne. I mean, and at some point, I mean, you'd want to fix Adelaide up as well over here. So that's the majority of where people are living, right? Maybe even at some point, maybe even the Sunshine Coast. But then again, there is that very fast train, that tilt train that goes up in that area. So if we are eventually going to be linking all these amazing cities together, right, you really want to future-proof the technology. It's a really shitty situation for Australia. For people that aren't aware, right, well, let me show you while I'm talking about this. For people that aren't aware, Queensland up here has passenger trains, and on most of its train network is narrow gauge. Okay, the New South Wales area has standard gauge. Melbourne and the Victoria region mostly has broad gauge. All right, I think Perth has narrow gauge as well. So, I mean, wow, it's a shitty situation that Australia has the rail situation that it does, because it's made it a lot harder for many generations, you know, before us, kind of thing, to get trains working on multiple tracks. I mean, in the past, when they had trains, when they had passenger trains going to different states, right, they had to actually lift the train up and put different sized bogies on the actual trains, and then lower the trains back on the bogies, and then they could continue on with the train down to Melbourne or up to Brisbane, right, in the past. So obviously this new rail line would have to be a standardized rail track, whatever that would be, broad or standard. Obviously standard would be the way to go, though broad gauge is more sturdier at high speeds, I guess you could say. But then again, there isn't really any broad gauge high speed tracks out there, is there? I don't think there is. So obviously it would have to be standard, right? As in standard gauge, but of course standard as in the whole track would have to be standard gauge, whatever that gauge may be. Am I making any sense? But yeah, this brings me to this, right? Maybe we should not invest in a technology like this. I mean, this is obviously a good technology, right? This is being used in China. I mean, China currently right now is the world's biggest high-speed rail operator. Wow. I mean, the CCP, yeah, you know me. The CCP, I mean, they say what you want about them. They're doing an absolutely fantastic job regarding high-speed rail all across their country, right? And then, of course, a close second is Japan, and then maybe France and England. I don't know what the rest are, but Germany. Oh, Germany. Ooh, Germany. I almost forgot about you guys, okay? So if we are going to be basically building a technology for Australia specifically, maybe we should be investing in something like a what's this thing called? I can't remember. A maglev. I love maglevs, right? This is the Japan maglev. This is a picture of the Japan maglev doing its thing. Now, the Japan maglev is very different from the China maglev, or it's called Transrapid. Now, as far as I'm aware, Transrapid was invented by a German company, and it was eventually adopted in China. Now, I haven't got a picture of it, but China do actually have a new maglev train system. Well, it's not a train system, but it's monorail, I don't know what you want to call it. They basically have a new maglev train coming out very, very soon. They have a mock-up of it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the picture of it or the video of it, but it's this really futuristic looking maglev train that apparently was invented and built and researched in China itself. But this one that's currently working was basically invented in Germany, right? There's another picture of it. I've actually been on this one with my parents. It goes 431 kilometers an hour. It always fluctuates between 430 and 431, 430, 431. They go just a little bit faster just so they can say it's on 430, right? So, you know, really, really long distances in Australia. Where's the picture? I can't find it. Really, really long distances in Australia. You would really think that if we are going to be building, if we really, truly are going to build this system, you know, first stages, I'm sure, would be somewhere between Sydney and, I can't find it. Where is Newcastle? So there we go. Sydney and Newcastle would be the first stages, roughly. But if we're going to continue on with this high-speed situation, I mean, these are really, really long distances. Terrible distances. Why not think about a technology like this that are only getting better by the year? They're always testing newer technologies regarding maglev. Japan and China really are. I'm guessing Germany. I don't know if Germany still has anything. Still hasn't. I don't know. How do I say this? I don't know if Germany still has the foot in the maglev door, but yeah. So the newer technologies are coming out all the time, and why adopt a fast train for Australia when you could get a faster train for Australia? That's just been a quick little conversation, a quick little conversational starter, just to understand what's happening here, and you know, why settle for something not as good when we could get magnets, bitch. Yeah, magnets. You know, just a thought, guys. Thanks for coming and watching. We're on two different channels. This one right now, channel 2, but we also are on channel 1 where we make travel films around the world. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, @TallBoyGareth. Give us a like and subscribe. Woo! Will I ever see a fast train system from my hometown in Sydney to anywhere. I mean, I really hope, I have no idea. If it does happen, it will probably be within 10 years or further, right? It's not going to be anytime soon, which is honestly a goddamn crying shame, but there you go, right? What can you do? I hope you guys like the video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. See ya. Bye.